Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to another denim DIY video. Today we're going to try to recreate another pair from Ends Repair. Now I don't know if this is the official name, but they have a bunch of bandanas on it, so I'll just call them the Bandana Denim, Distressed Denim. I don't know, something like that. These were requested. You guys already know the deal. If you guys have any requests, leave it down in the comments down below or on my Instagram. Send me a message and I'll get back to you. Now if you don't know how they look like, I'll put them on screen right now. And yeah, they kind of nice. Looking like a lot of work. They look pretty complex, but I think after the whole prepping process, I think I have a pretty good general idea of the steps I will take to try to recreate these. And like always, let's just hope everything just comes together in the end. So as of me shooting this intro, I still don't know which jeans to use, the Lucky Brand ones or the Levi's 541s. We'll figure that out after I bleach the bandanas. But without any further ado, let's get into it. So here are all of the things that we're going to be using for this project. We're also gonna need some bleach, by the way. I just forgot to add that in. We got hella thread, tacky glue, adhesive spray, cotton bandanas, and the jeans we're going to work on. The bandanas measure to about 21 by 21 inches, so after lining them on the jeans, I decided to use only 6 out of the 10 that came in the pack. In my prepping video, I assumed that they used only black bandanas and then bleached them to turn into the color that they got. But someone mentioned to me on Instagram, and it makes sense, that they also used a combination of bleached brown bandanas as well. But I didn't want to spend any more money, so we're just gonna work with what we got. Now it's important that the bandanas are made out of cotton and not polyester, because otherwise the bleach will have basically no effect on it and it'll just stay black. But I ended up trying different methods that I could think of to try to get different looking colors and looks. I did things like spraying the bleach, dunking the whole bandana into the bucket of bleach, using other bandanas to smear bleach onto other bandanas, literally anything I could think of as long as it didn't make the bandanas into one solid color, which was what submerging it does. But once I figured I was done, I rinsed them all off with some water and left them out to dry in the sun. I somehow ended up with a gradient of different looking bandanas that didn't really match exactly how they were in the reference picture, but I'm a fan of how they came out. Also, I ended up deciding to use the Lucky Brand jeans rather than the Levi's because the right color I think will go a long way compared to just the fit and what I'm used to working with. So here we have the Lucky Brand jeans. They have a relaxed, athletic fit and are a bit stretchy. Now I do like the fit, but I prefer that they were a bit baggier at the bottom, but it's a fit you can't really go wrong with regardless. Now we have to deconstruct the pants or take it all apart. I started off with the metal button and the rivets. To remove them, I used a pair of pliers that have wire cutters and used that to pry them off. Unfortunately, the button and rivets aren't reusable after they're removed, so I just threw them away. Then I removed the brand label as well as the belt loops. Next up, we have to remove each panel of the pants. I started off by undoing the hem at the bottom and then removed the stitches holding down the waistband by pulling off the thread that was holding the chain stitches down. I did the same to remove the stitches on the inseam and outseam of each panel to separate them. Lastly, I removed the butt pockets as well as the coin pocket. Now we can start distressing. From the pictures, it looked like they had patch repairs added before applying the bandanas, so we're gonna do just that. I marked where I thought they should go and started distressing away with my rotary tool. My main goal wasn't to leave every single horizontal thread intact, so I just distressed whatever I thought looked good, whether it be wholly or with some thread attached. Once the distressings were done, before adding in the patch repair, I flipped the pants over to the backside and ironed the distressings to make them flatter and easier to work with. Normally I'd use pins for this step, but since I got some glue, I decided to just use that to hold the repairs in place. This method turned out to be so much easier than using pins, so I'll probably use this method in future DIYs as well. So what I did was apply the glue around the perimeter of the area I was going to repair, so that when I sew it down, it'll all be intact and I won't have to worry about the fabric folding in on itself. To fully secure the repairs, we're going to sew in some darning stitches to make it sturdy and to add to the overall look of the pants. I bought these tall spools of thread, but I didn't take into account that I don't have a holder that was tall enough to keep it in place, so I had to make a makeshift one using an old pen. I wanted to use the longer tube portion of it, so I used my pliers and removed the tip and ink cartridge. The opening was too small though, so I cut off that part with the wire cutter section of my pliers and then added on the pen cap to give the tube a little bit more height, and voila, it sits perfect. Now we can start the darning process. I started off using white thread at first, but for some of the others, I ended up using black thread. The next step is to attach the bandanas. I cut off the hems or edges of each bandana because it added in a little rise, but I wanted them to all be flush with each other. At first, I planned to pour some tacky glue onto the jeans and then use my hand with the glove on to spread it around evenly. But I think because the denim was stretchy and not as solid and stiff, it was really tough to spread the glue around. It was possible, but not really efficient. I then thought maybe I had to just add on glue to the majority of the space, then I would have an easier time spreading it. Yeah, that didn't really work either. I then tried using a paintbrush to try to paint the glue on, but you guessed it, it didn't work that well either. I didn't film it, but I tested how an adhesive spray would fare, and it did pretty well. So I incorporated both adhesives into one method, which turned out to be the best one. I would start by gluing the part of the denim that would make first contact with the bandana I wanted to apply. After letting it dry for a moment, I opened the bandana over the part that was glued. I then sprayed the adhesive spray heavily onto the denim area that was going to be attached to the bandana, as well as onto the bandana itself, and let that dry for about 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes was over, I pressed them firmly together, making sure there were no wrinkles and everything was smooth with each other. When I covered the entire panel and everything was holding together, I flipped the panel over and cut off the excess bandana that was hanging off the denim to get the shape of the panel's back. Now to start the part of the DIY that almost made me pull out all of my hair and grow out white ones, sewing the horizontal and vertical stitchings. This process would have been a breeze and something I could do while watching Netflix in the background, but my sewing machine was like, psych, I'm gonna make your life harder by scrunching up the fabric and sewing in ugly and loose top stitches. And I know it's probably the tension, I gotta mess around with it, and I did. Nothing was really working, so it just got to the point where I just settled with the setting that sewed the best looking straight stitches. Zigzag stitches though, pretty much out of the question. Let's go, we're finally on the last panel, I'm dying. After about 15 plus hours of sewing all of the panels and butt pockets and the waistband and the coin pocket, I was done with the first grind. We're bringing out the rotary tool once again because now we gotta make a bunch of tears and rips into the bandanas to try to simulate the ends repair denim design. I followed the reference pictures a little bit, but for the most part I just distressed anywhere. The main thing was to not cut through the denim, but rather only through the bandana. It's important for this part to not apply too much pressure, but let the weight of your tool do the work for you and then apply more if needed. Also, it'll be much faster if you use a fresh bit that isn't stripped, so we'll have an easier time ripping through the bandana. A bunch of lint will go flying everywhere, so I suggest doing this outside, and please wear a mask. Don't breathe this stuff in. All that's left is to put the pants back together. If it's your first time reconstructing denim pants, it may take a while to get your bearings straight, so just take your time and always double check if you're about to sew the correct seams together. It's much faster to double check than having to open up the seam again after finding out that you accidentally sewed it into a skirt. I sewed back in the butt pockets and coin pocket first, then reattached the panels on their out seams, sewed the inseams, and then finished with the waistband. When the pants are fully put back together, turn the pants inside out and iron the seams to make them clean and flush. I ended up leaving the pants with an unfinished hem just to give them some length, so I sewed a zigzag stitch around it to secure it, even though the top stitch didn't really look that great, but no one's gonna look at that anyways, right? I bought some brandless rivets off Amazon and hammered them in place in the same spots as the originals. Lastly, I didn't want to spend more on a metal button, so I took a regular button off this scrap flannel that I had and then just hand sewed it in.
We must pay homage to him.
Bro, that was so tedious. Actually, not even tedious, it was just so frustrating. I was annoyed so many times throughout this whole process, but we got it done. But overall, I would rate these 10 out of 10. Actually, you know what? 9.5 out of 10. I give it that because personally, I think I could have done a little bit more. Now, I did do a lot already, but you know, I guess that's just the perfectionist in me. I don't think they're perfect. I think there's a couple of things that I probably could have done a lot better. But you know, my tools were kind of hindering me, you know, aka my sewing machine. One thing I wanted to do, but I wasn't able to do it because of my sewing machine. So I wanted to sew down the loose bandanas and all the loose fabrics to really secure it. But because like the tension or something was off of my sewing machine, even though I did a bunch of trial and error trying to figure out which was the right setting, it would still not work because I'm pretty sure it's like the timing or something. I'm pretty sure the timing is like a little bit off on my sewing machine. Because I was trying to do like a zigzag stitch because I want that design. I want that stitch to be shown on the pants. The bottom stitch was good. It had that zigzag stitch that I was going for. But the top stitch, which is obviously more important because it's the one that can be seen, it was not like that. It was like that. That's gonna wrap it up for this video. If you guys like how the pants turned out, make sure to drop a like. Also hit that sub button too, I'd really appreciate it. If you have any other suggestions, you have any other DIY requests you guys want me to try to recreate, leave a comment down below or DM me on my Instagram at JuliusNathan, and I'll get back to you. Honestly, like, I prefer if you just DM me. I'm more likely to see it on Instagram rather than my YouTube comments. So yeah, just DM me. Also, thank you guys so much for over 10,000 subscribers. Let's go. I know it's not that much, but it's a huge motivation for me to keep on making these DIYs. So again, thank you guys so much. Also, if you want to get in touch with other people who are interested in DIYing, join my Discord. Everyone there is super cool. Everyone there is super friendly. If you have any suggestions or questions on anything you're working on, or if you want to showcase something that you're working on, you can do that in my Discord, and I'll leave a link to that in the description down below. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Without any further ado, I need a haircut. Without any further ado,